Hello, this is going to be a quick overview of SiSoftware's Sandra. It is a benchmarking as well as hardware information tool that is put out by SiSoftware. This is the free version, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of tools here. The first one that we're going to be taking a look at is hardware, and under computer management, we're going to take a look at the computer overview. This can actually take a little while to load because it pulls quite a few different areas of the computer, ranging from, as you can see, the computer model all the way down to memory, logical storage devices, etc. As you can see, it sort of has things broken down to a parameter and value, sort of tabular model. And it lists things like the model. My laptop is a Clevo P170H. The version of BIOS, the type of processor, it's a quad-core i7Q20 or 2670QM. It has 3 sticks of Samsung RAM in it. The video adapter is the video card in this case is an AMD Radeon HD 6990M. The hard disk down here is a Seagate 750 gig. As you can see, it says 699 gig. That's after partitioning, and it actually has to do with the fact that they're counting a gigabyte as a billion bytes, when in reality the computer does not count it the same way. Let's see. It says that I don't have a printer hooked up in these first 2 slots. It says OneNote and stuff, but my Lexmark printer in these 2 slots is the one that's actually hooked up. There is a battery made by Clevo, and the Windows version is Ultimate, and it is the 64-bit version, as the motherboard does support 64-bit architecture. So if we go into hardware, you'll see that it's more of the same. It explains what we have as far as physical disks. It explains the maker of our disks and what they do as far as specifics. There's quite a bit of information here, so I'm not going to break down what each of these things are because there's a ton of them. If we go over into, I believe I think I was supposed to go into processors for this. If we go into processors, it will take just a moment to load, but it will explain a bit more about the architecture of the processor, and the FPUs and APUs. So once this decides to get in order and load, again, it takes quite a while because it has to pull the hardware. But once it gets that, it'll explain more about the actual speed, model, etc. of the processor itself. So as you can see in this case, it's an Intel. Like I said earlier, it's an i7, which is a quad-core. You can actually tell if an Intel is quad-core because of the Q after the model number. It actually means that it's quad-core. The speed of 2.8 gigahertz is because it's overclocked from the factory. The minimum and maximum speed sort of explains its minimum and max. Again, quad-core as stated. 2 threads possible of running per core due to Intel's hyper-threading. Aside from that, it explains the multiplier, which is actually sort of an in-depth thing that you get into when you get into overclocking. You're actually not changing the speed, you're changing the multiplier on those. So that's kind of a cool little thing to have available. And again, there's just a ton of other things that are, said here, what sort of features it has. I mean, you don't see too much 3D now technology in 2012 or eMMX. So, okay, if we go over into software, we'll double click operating system. And under the operating system area, it'll tell us all kinds of information about our operating system. As stated before, it's Windows 7, 64-bit. I'm going to scroll down a little so you can't see my product key or anything. As far as other stuff, you'll see that there are some .NET things installed. The default web browser is actually wrong. It's not Internet Explorer, it's Google Chrome, but that could just be a misread from the application. My computer's been on for 1 day, 4 hours. The host name and user are both me. Boot type normal means that I'm not using any type of administrative boot, safe boot option, etc. All the Windows updates I've installed. There's quite a few of them. There's more Windows updates that are available, language packs and such. Regional settings are actually how your computer identifies itself. So there are certain region-locked programs that will not run on an English/United States computer. They might only run on, say, a Japanese computer. So this is how your computer identifies itself. Again, it's possible to change this, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of this. It has all of our operating system folders, Windows folder, Windows, System 32, etc. Two useful ones are the temp folder, should empty that out fairly regularly, and your app data path. A lot of the time that's where saved games get stuck and eventually lost. I believe that I was also supposed to look at memory in here, which I could have swore was in software, but I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Yep, so memory usage. In this case, you'll see that I do have 12 gig as initially said. The amount of free memory is 76%, because I'm not really running much of anything. Skype, MIRC, uTorrent, Google Chrome, just small stuff. The page file is typically set as double the amount of physical memory on a computer, and the page file is at c:\pagefile.sys. An interesting note that they would list the page file but not the other thing that confuses people, which is Hyberfil, HIBERFIL, .sys, which is also found as a hidden file at the root directory of the primary logical drive. Hyberfil is actually used when the computer goes into any type of sleep or suspended state. All the data that is presently residing in RAM gets saved to the hard drive so it can get loaded again for a quicker boot without any information loss. Total processes running, threads, and open handles are just information about what I currently have open. Then there's page memory, non-page memory, and just data load. Another kind of useful thing that you can do with this is you can create reports with Sandra. So if you go to Tools and then down to Create Report, as I just did, you'll be able to hit Next. We obviously want to make choices and generate a report. I selected mainboard before, but I'm just going to do a computer overview. And rather than doing simple benchmark here, I want to do a GPU cryptography benchmark, just because I think that would be kind of fun. And I'll click off memory bandwidth there, and I'm going to skip everything in here. I'm not really too interested in software on my computer. Everything off on support, and this will be a computer overview / GPU processing report. And hit next and save the disk to file, and I will save it as Unicode HTML, or well, yeah, HTML I guess, and I'll save that to my documents. And we hit save, and it runs, and it analyzes for quite some time, but once it completes, it will save to the location that we asked it to. Well, I think that'll just about do it for this video. I'll pause it here and show the report when it's done.